what the fuck is high ticket sales? Is a question that I'm probably asked at least 5 to 10 times every single week. And personally, as someone who's gone from 0 to 50K a month in just 6 months of the industry, people start to get curious, they ask questions, and I can't be fucked explaining it anymore. Right, truly. So I'm making this video so that once and for all, I never have to explain what the industry is ever again. I'll break down how it works, how money flows, how you can get started, so that rather than me breaking it down 10 times a week, I'll just send this link. So if you already know what high ticket sales is, you might want to click off because this might not be much value to you. But if you don't know what it is, fucking sit back, get your popcorn, and I'll break it down for you now. So, what the fuck is high ticket sales? If you ever want to make money online, if you ever want to look at business models, online money making methods, you've probably come across this term and you may be thinking, what the fuck is it? What do you sell? How do you sell? Who do you sell to? Well, today I'll break it down for you. So once again, you never have to ask me ever again. I never have to explain it ever again, and everyone's fucking happy. So, what is it? In short, high ticket sales is helping someone sell something expensive. That's fucking it, right? Usually about $2,000 and up. The seller is usually an influencer or expert who has something they sell to people, a course, a coaching program, a service, or mentorship. This is known as the info world, or info for short, basically meaning the sale of information products. The buyer is typically a customer, follower, consumer, or business owner who has a problem they want solved, whether it be losing weight, start a business, buy investment property, etc. So some examples of this are fitness influencer, example, Chris Bumstead, selling a coaching program to men on how to gain muscle, right? So influencer or expert person, what they sell, the buyer, and the solving of their problem. Pretty simple, right? Another example, trading influencer, TJR, selling a course or mentorship, which is what they sell to 9-to-5ers, the buyers, on how to make money, which is the solving of their problem. You have the gist of it now, right? Another example, buyer's agent, example, Jack Henderson selling a service to investors to help purchase profitable investment properties. Right now, your job is to play a role in the sales process where that random person actually becomes the buyer. And this is usually done over the phone or online, which is remote, high ticket sales, shebang. Note, you need to make sure that you're connecting the right person to the right solution, right? You don't want to sell something to someone they do not need or that won't work for them. If they don't meet the criteria of a good fit, you must disqualify them. People from the outside tend to assume that being in sales means you have to be a slimy salesperson, sell people shit they don't need, and it's a scam. But that's completely wrong. The whole point of the sales process is to qualify this person, make sure they are a good fit so you can pitch them and sell to them. So examples are Chris Bumstead selling a program on how to gain muscle to men aged 18 to 30, right? Jessica, a woman aged 52, she'd be a DQ, right? Another example, TJR selling a mentorship on how to make money online with trading. Mark, a 45-year-old and 50K worth of debt and 20 bucks in his account and about to go homeless, he'd be a DQ, right? Sorry, Mark. Right, so your whole goal here is to only sell things to people who actually are a good fit, right? None of the slimy snake oil bullshit. So how the industry is structured, right? Like any industry, there is some structure to it. This isn't an exact representation, but it's a good rough guideline to explain to beginners. So typically at the top is the offer owner, right? This is usually the influencer or lead professional. Example, Chris Bumstead, TJR, Jack Henderson. They're usually the head and the face of the company, and it's just usually just their business and company overall, right? People buy their thing and they provide or oversee the delivery of the product and service. Right now, underneath them is the management team, usually a growth operator and or sales manager. They usually make sure that everything's running smoothly so the offer owner actually can focus on service delivery and the sales team can keep getting people through the door. And down here, we have the sales team, right? These are the ones running leads, so potential customers, through the sales process so they convert into buyers. So you, if you get into high ticket sales, are joining that team. Quick note, an offer simply means job in the info world. So these two terms are interchangeable. So we're on a fucking roll here. Speaking about roles, here's the roles, right? So there are two main roles in the high ticket sales space. You're either a setter or a closer. The setter is usually the first point of contact, right? Reach out to leads who've opted in, qualify them, book them onto a call to closer. Think of it like an assist in basketball, right? Now the closer, usually the next point of contact, they take the booked call, run the prospect through the full discovery process and get them to commit and or buy. Right, think of it as actually shooting the shot and dunking the ball. This means the better the setter's set up, the easier the closer's job, and the better the closer is, the more likely that person is to convert. So an example of this is, let's say Chris Bumstead has a thing on his story saying, hey guys, I'm taking on 10 more clients this month, helping men lose weight and gain muscle. Fill out this form to see if you're a good fit. Someone will fill out the form, put in their details, and the setter will call that person, make sure they're a good fit, and then book them into a call with the closer. The closer will then close them on that training program, collect the cash, the customer gets the program how to lose weight, Chris Bumstead then gets himself or the team to deliver a service of actually coaching the person, and the sales team gets the commission. Note, nothing in sales is fucking guaranteed, right? It's all about increasing the likelihood that a person performs an action. The action can be booking a call, making a purchase, etc. Right now, you will almost always start as a setter. Reason being, it's the most logical step you can make to get into the sales industry. Because truth be told, learning setting is usually easier than learning closing. However, this doesn't apply to everyone. Me personally, I went actually straight into full cycle, so setting my own calls. Skipped the setting arc, which is why I was able to fast track my journey. This won't apply to everyone unless you're fucking cracked, like me, right? Commission split. Setters usually get 5%, closers usually get 10%, right? This is industry average. Sometimes companies have base structures, bonus incentives, or different commission structured. Example, a set amount of money per booked call, but this is industry average. How to find roles, right? This is not a normal industry, right? This is not a normal industry where jobs are just posted on LinkedIn and Seek or Indeed. Some are, right? But most jobs, especially the good ones, are secured through networks, private communities, and knowing someone who knows someone. Think about it like this. If TJR wants a closer, he wouldn't really just put in a story and have thousands, if not tens of thousands of people applying and flooding his Instagram, right? He will ask someone he knows, who knows someone that they know, who knows someone that they know, that gets their network together, and so on. You can find these roles usually through places like Discord, Instagram and Facebook, where people post roles and refer ones, LinkedIn, referrals in your network, and yes, sometimes Seek and Indeed too. Now, in the corporate world, we're taught to use resumes and LinkedIn and etc. Right, in the high ticket sales world, your Instagram is basically your LinkedIn and your Loom is basically your resume. Not exactly, but basically. Note, a Loom is just a short recorded video, typically 1 to 2 minutes long, which is a quick picture of who you are and why you're worth hiring. Right now, your Instagram usually is how you stand out and look professional. Right, your Loom, call recordings, and other tangible proof is usually how you apply. Now, I'll be going over in more depth in later videos on how to actually land these roles. But right now, just know at least roughly where to find them and what you'll need to do when you find them. How to make money, right? High ticket sales is commission only, at least roughly 90% of the time, right? Which is pure performance and it's a pure meritocracy, which means you're rewarded based on merit, which is your output. So there'll be a natural bell curve structure, right? There is no floor, which means it's risky if you are lazy and or bad, but there's no ceiling. So it's lucrative if you're not lazy and or you're good. Right now, your goal is to be good. So you're paid as a contractor. In Australia, that's under usually an ABN or ACN. In other countries like America, it's usually an LLC or a C Corp. You invoice for commissions and commissions is paid on the cash you collect, right? Some offers will pay commissions monthly, bi-weekly, or weekly. Example, if you close a 10K deal and the prospect pays 10K cash up front, the closer makes 10%, $1,000, and the setter makes 5%, about $500. Right, now let's use another example. Let's say the prospect pays 5K up front, then 2.5K in a month, then 2.5K in a month after. In sales, if they pay in full, it's called a PIF, and if they split up, it's called a payment plan. Right? So if that person does a payment plan, what happens is the closer makes 10% and the setter 5% on the initial cash collected, and then each time that prospect gets rebilled, the sales rep then gets their respective commission on that rebill. So for example, on the second month, the closer gets 250, setter 125. Note, sales reps usually do their own invoicing and need to track their own commissions. So track well, because if you fuck up, you could be leaving money on the table. So your skill matters, but your offer matters basically just as much. Right? You're going to be capped by the offer you're on and the skill set you have. But overall, a level 3 skill set on a level 10 offer will have a better time than a level 10 skill set on a level 3 offer. Not to say one will make more or less, but that person will have a better time. So they have more efficiency. So now, the sales process, right, which is the framework and the script. We have a sales process to increase the likelihood a person buys, right? If that person was just shown a checkout link out of nowhere, they probably won't buy, or the likelihood is lower as there is no urgency. And basically, sales is about creating urgency, right? Both a want and a need logically and emotionally, so a person performs an action that moves them closer to their goal, which is moving them away from the problem they have, solved by the solution that you sell. That's it. Right, so a sales script is a series of words designed to increase the likelihood a prospect answers a certain way, thinks a certain way, and ultimately acts a certain way. A framework is the bigger picture, right? It's the structure the conversation follows. A script is just a component inside the framework, which means scripts and words can change, frameworks don't really. Right, so think of the framework as the recipe, and the script as the ingredients. So for a sandwich, you can swap the white bread out for wholemeal because it follows the same framework. But if you swap the bread out for a pineapple, it gets fucking weird, right? The order matters too. So if you use the same ingredients, but the bread is on the inside and everything else on the outside, well, that's fucking weird also. Right, so same thing here. The order in which the words in the script are said inside the framework is designed in a specific way as a prospect moves through an emotional state in a specific order. Right, once you get better with your process, you can follow a more nimble and loose framework when you have more conversational flexibility. But in the beginning, it's good to stick to the process. And that's fucking about it. That's the whole high ticket sales space in a nutshell. So key point, how to win fast. Like any skill in any industry, obsession beats talent and immersion is the key to success here. Sales is like its own language and you need to immerse yourself into the world of sales if you want to get better faster. And an example that I always give is I'm not the biggest fan of Sabrina Carpenter as an example, but I can probably recite some of her songs, at least the chorus, just by accidentally listening to them, right? On accident. So if you can accidentally learn a song, you can purposely master sales by subconsciously and consciously consuming it. Right, so watching content, listening to sales training, writing out your script, converting your Instagram feed to show you more sales content, just everything, making more friends in the space, talking about it, living inside of it, you immersing yourself in the industry will make you progress faster, usually. Right, the people who win in this industry aren't always the most talented, they're just the most obsessed. So that's it. That's the whole hard to get sales space broken down in a simple way. Never ask me ever again what it is. So I hope that was valuable for you guys that were watching this. If you knew what sales is already and you still watch this, I don't know why, but thank you. So yeah, go fucking crush it and let's rock and roll.